When I think about autumn/fall, there's a few things that actually come to mind. September here in the UK is back to school season, October is obviously Halloween, and November is my birthday, which I understand is more of a personal thing to me, but I am using this season as an excuse to finally get to a few things that have been sat in my back catalogue for a good while at this point. I know when I did the summer version of this, there were actually 6 movies that I wanted to prioritise, but I have some really big plans for my channel in October, which is why there's only 4 this time around. 2 for September, and then 2 for November. And strangely, 3 of them just so happen to be slasher movies, which is not a subgenre that I actually tend to veer towards, so this is going to be something new. I am also aware that some of you actively watch these movies along with me, which is wild and crazy, and this is just my way of finally knocking some things off of my back catalogue that, you know, they're taking up space at this point. Now, just like the first time that I did this, none of the movies featured on this list are from 2024 or upcoming in 2024, because the simple reason is you can't guarantee that something's release date is going to move, and things get released at completely different times all around the world. If you're new here, I go by Hordes, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, and if that sounds like something you would be interested in, maybe stick around and join the Horde by clicking that subscribe button. But without further ado, onto the list of 4 horror movies that I want to prioritise watching in autumn/fall of 2024. Urban Legend from 1998 is a slasher horror. When a series of murders take place in and around her university, Natalie finds herself in the centre of a series of sadistic murders seemingly inspired by urban legends. She resolves to find the truth about Pendleton's own legend, a 25-year-old story of a student massacre at the hands of an abnormal psych professor. This is the first of 2 90s movies on this list that I have picked for this round, and for September I was purposely looking for something that was academic in some kind of way, and Urban Legend just stood out to me because it's a slasher movie, but it's not set in high school, it's set in university, so everybody in it is just that little bit older, and I can appreciate this. Now, when I think of slasher movies, you think of people in costumes and masks going around killing people. And what's the perfect time of year for this? Now. It's the lead up to Halloween, when everybody is out there picking their costumes and masks. The two just kind of go hand in hand to me, and there is nothing wrong with a cheesy slasher movie where it feels like Mystery Inc. is going to turn up and unmask the killer. Like, I'm not saying that Urban Legend is going to be like full-on cheddar, but it's going to be at least Parmesan sprinkled on the top kind of levels of cheese, because at the end of the day, this is a 90s slasher movie, and it happens to star Jared Leto and Robert Englund, and I have to question, like, when you were making horror movies in the 90s, was it like an obligation that you had to write Robert Englund into everything? Because the man is absolutely everywhere. It's not an issue, but like, was it a requirement? I have to ask. You can expect an axe-wielding maniac wearing a parka, a bunch of serial murders on a university campus, and Robert Englund in some kind of capacity. Now, this is actually going to be the first movie that I get to in September, and you will see this one very near in the future. Most Likely to Die from 2015 is a slasher horror. A group of former high school classmates gather for a pre-party at one of their homes the night before their 10-year high school reunion, but one by one they are brutally slain in a manner befitting each senior's yearbook superlative. I don't know how you Americans do it, because you could not pay me enough to go to my high school reunion. Like, I could not go and sit and make small talk with the people that made my life miserable and now do not even recognize me and know who I am anymore. Like, my social anxiety it could not and would not. I have tried for years, and I mean literally years, to find a copy of this movie here in the UK, and it is so hard to find. But recently, within the last couple of weeks, I managed to get my hands on a copy of this movie, and I thought, it is finally time to watch the slasher movie about a high school reunion where hopefully obnoxious stereotypes of people that we all went to high school with are gonna get killed by a slasher man, woman, lady, human person wearing a graduation cap and gown. Like, I'm not gonna lie and try and say that there's a deeper meaning as to why I want to watch this movie. I just think that this guy, gal, lady, human person looks cool as hell.
Nice hat.
You can expect a deadly high school reunion, kills themed around a yearbook, and Perez Hilton to be one of the victims. Now, this will be the second movie that I watch in September, and you can expect this one to appear at some point on my channel in late September. Are We Not Cats from 2018 is a horror romance. A young man seeks a new beginning after losing his job, his girlfriend, and his apartment in the same day. His plans soon get diverted when he meets a museum woman who shares the same strange habit, an inclination for eating hair. I love horror movies that address the human condition or behaviour or habits that we develop as coping mechanisms, and Are We Not Cats happens to deal with trichophagia, trichotillomania, and Rapunzel syndrome, so there is a lot to unpack in this one. It's not too often that I find horror romances, particularly ones that I am actually interested in watching, but Are We Not Cats is about a relationship where two people happen to find each other, and it proves to be both beneficial and toxic in the sense of it is helping to you, but harmful to the other person simultaneously. Now, I am not saying in any kind of way that this is toxic in how each other is treating the other person. It's just they find themselves in a vicious cycle where what is sort of calming and beneficial to them also makes the other person amp up their own strange behaviour, and in one person's case it involves skin, and in one person's case it involves hair.
You're a cat whisperer.
You can expect a man having a horrible day, a girl who eats her own hair, and a relationship built on toxic behaviours that we have learnt as coping mechanisms that often can have deadly consequences. Now, this will be the first movie that I watch in November, so you can expect this one in early to mid-November. Candyman from 1992 is a supernatural slasher horror. Helen Lyle is a student who decides to write a thesis about local myths and legends. When visiting a part of town, she learns about the legend of the Candyman, a one-armed man who appears when you say his name 5 times in front of a mirror. But when skeptic Helen ignores the warnings and begins her investigation into the place where he is rumoured to appear, a series of horrible murders begins. I swear, I just heard some of you gasp that I haven't watched Candyman, and to you I say, I know, I've been meaning to for years to sit down and watch this one, but I have just never committed to it before, and I have heard some really good things about this movie, about how it talks about social class and racism, and how its score and its special effects are really good. So yes, I do have slightly higher expectations for this one, and I know that it is an adaptation of a Clive Barker book. And this is not my first time with a Clive Barker adaptation, because I have seen most of the Hellraiser movies, I've seen Nightbreed, I've seen Midnight Meat Train, just to name a few of the bigger titles. So I am looking forward to this one. This is probably the one that I'm most hyped to finally get to, which is why I am saving it to the very end. I have no idea how I have managed to avoid spoilers for this one for so long, besides purposely tuning them out, because I now avoid spoilers, and it's why my channel is spoiler free. Like, I avoid them like my life depends on it, because if I want to watch something, I don't want to know anything about it. From the tiniest thing to the biggest of spoilers, I don't want to know. And you can thank another 90s slasher movie for this, because I'm gonna go out there and say this. I have never seen the movie Scream, and that is because I know who Ghostface is. I know who the identities are of the people wearing the Ghostface costume, and I know every single plot twist and turn in that movie. So if I sat down and watched Scream, it is not going to be the same as somebody who doesn't know what is happening. I know who it is from start to finish. It has been completely ruined for me. Of course, I have seen pictures of Candyman, the man covered in bees, and I know how you summon Candyman, the man covered in bees. But that is about all I know about this movie, besides It's possibly a social commentary, so I am looking forward to this one.
Why you rolling toward me?
You can expect a man covered in bees who has a hook for a hand, who doesn't like it if you say his name 5 times, which is why I have only said his name 4 times in this entire section. And if you don't believe me, you can go back and check. And this will be the movie that I get to in late November. So there you have it, the 4 movies that I want to prioritise watching in autumn/fall of 2024, or more accurately, in September and November. I will be doing a video though at the end of September revealing what my October plans are going to be. And it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a busy month, October, here on my channel. And if that sounds like something you might also be interested in, remember to click that subscribe button and join the Horde here on YouTube. Or if you would like to know where else you can find me, you can also find me over on Instagram and Letterboxd at Hordes of Horror, where I am currently trying to watch 150 horror movies throughout the year, and I am already 120 movies into this challenge. So at this rate, who knows what number I am going to be on at the end of the year. But I will be back on Monday with another solo movie review. And if it wasn't obvious, we're watching Urban Legend from 1998 because I need to know how a man with a parka coat relates to an urban legend. So until next time, bye.